Science, Economic Opportunities and Tourism. This hour, we are deliberating and considering Vote 12, Economic Development and Tourism. Colleagues, all the procedures for normal committee meeting will apply. What I'll do is I'll allow for members to introduce themselves, and then I'll allow for the Minister and HOD to do introductory remarks. I'm going to ask that we do not introduce every official online today, as we do not have much time. However, you are welcome to introduce yourself if you are answering questions or speaking to a matter. If you need to raise a point of order, please use the raise hand function or use the chat box if you are unable to use the raise hand function. I see that we are caught, so we are able to continue. And colleagues, first introduce yourselves, and then I will allow for introductions, and then I will table the respective pages for questions. Thank you so much. My name is Deirdre Bartman. I'm chair of the committee.
Morning, and the rest of the committee members and other people in attendance. My name is Lulama Mvimbi. I am an alternate member. I'm standing in for Honorable Ngonzo.
Thank you so much, Honorable Mvimbi. I did receive that particular apology and that you're standing in. Honorable Mitchell, I heard you as well.
Goeiemôre, Voorsitter Dylan Mitchell.
Thank you so much. Other members?
Môre Voorsitter, Andrikus van der Westhuizen, lid van die komitee.
Thank you. And just for noting as well, I received an apology from member Makamba Bocha as well. Okay, colleagues, I'm going to now hand over to the Minister and the HOD for introductory remarks. I'm going to ask that all other persons please put their microphones on mute if they are not on the floor, as well as their videos offline if they are not on the floor at the moment. Thank you so much. Minister, over to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I know that there's time, and so I will obviously be brief before I hand over to the HOD, Solly Fourie, and the CFO for the briefing. I mean, honourable members would know, they've looked at the second adjustment budget, that there is a reduction of about 4.9 million rand this year. So the overall budget shifts from 547.5 million to 543.5 million. The highlight, of course, is the 12 million rand additional allocation for the COVID relief fund to support small businesses that have obviously been hard hit by the pandemic. But of course, that is offset by fairly significant reductions in SOE. But certainly, we look forward to the discussion this morning. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Solly Fourie, our HOD.
Thank you so much. Mr. Fourie.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Chair, and thank you, members of the committee. Chair, I'd like to just share with the committee just two slides on where we are at and where this adjustment budget has taken us to. And if it's okay with you, Chair, if I can just be allowed to share those two slides.
Yes, you may. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. So, Chair, we've noticed that in this adjustments estimate budget, we've had obviously a year that has been very difficult because of COVID, and particularly difficult for the economy because the various levels of lockdown has affected the economy quite poorly. But notwithstanding that, the highlights this year is that we've spent a significant amount of money in the BPO skills project, which has led to the creation of over 5,000 new jobs for youth. And also the first BPO academy to be established in the Western Cape, of which we are very proud. We've introduced the Western Cape Tourism Development Fund to assist particularly tourism companies. And we've established a design and innovation seed fund, which enables at least 5 new prototypes and innovations to be supported. And of course, Chair, you may know that we've been very involved in the energy resilience projects to make sure that we spend an enormous amount of time moving away or moving towards an energy secure position for many of our municipalities and for the province. But I think the great highlight for us has been the work that we've done around small, medium enterprises. over a number of different areas. Minister has spoken about the additional 12 million that came in the adjustments estimate to the Western Cape Business Relief Fund. That was joined by the existing 27 million we had, which made that fund into 39 million. And the various areas that you've seen on the screen here are the areas that we've worked on to support small medium enterprises. And in total, this department has spent 65.12 million rand on supporting small medium enterprises. That is not all that we've done within the context of supporting small business through the broader economic recovery plan. And Minister Mania made mention of this in his medium-term budget speech yesterday. But 155.9 million has been set aside to support small business through the acceleration of basic maintenance and repair infrastructure at schools. This money is primarily aimed at supporting those small, medium contractors in order to get the economic recovery going. And in addition, we've also had from our colleagues within agriculture an additional 8.5 million to support businesses in the wine industry. Chair, I'm going to leave it at that. I know that we've got the blue book that you need to run through, but I think it's just important for the context to be given and for the committee to see how we are doing with significantly challenging fiscal environments and still seeking to make sure that we support the economy through the various areas. We've got a summary slide of what happened in the key adjustments. Our first adjustment appropriation was 547 million. We surrendered 11.172 million because of a realignment of compensation of employees and 8.8 million because of a realignment of the municipal energy resilience project. We received during the budget, the adjustments, 1 million from the MERS-SETA for skills development, 12 million, which Minister has spoken about, towards the COVID Business Relief Fund, and then from the Department of the Premier and the Department of Community Safety, a combination of 2 million, which then went to the EDP for work to be done in the Western Cape Safety Plan. And so our second adjustment appropriation speaks of a reduction of 4.95 million rand, and that gives us now an appropriation of 542 million. Chair, I'm going to leave it at that and then hand over to you, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fourie. What I'm going to do now, members, is I'm now tabling pages 323 to pages 355 for any questions based on the adjustments in the blue book as sent out yesterday after the tabling. Members, I will take the hands accordingly. Honorable van der Westhuizen. I'm just going to quickly see if there are any other hands as well. Honorable Mvimbi. Okay, if no other, then I'll take those two hands first. Honorable van der Westhuizen, in that order.
Thank you, Chair. Just two questions. The first one is, I see there is and it's a relatively small amount, 1.6 million rand for higher education institutions. And unfortunately, I missed what the intention is of that one. It seems to be a new initiative that came through with this adjustment. And then the second one is just in general, your approach towards staff costs. I take it that the cuts were due to the exclusion of the expected increase, annual wage increase as negotiated some 3 years ago. But what is your approach towards staff vacancies, etc.? Because in the past that has often been used also to try and effect savings in times such as this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Honorable van der Westhuizen, just for the first one, higher education institutions, is there a specific page that it is on?
It's in that order. Let me, I will quickly scroll back. I think it's one of the first pages for this vote.
Okay. While you find that particular page, Honorable Mvimbi, if you can go on with your question so long.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Just to let you know that I'm experiencing serious network challenges. If I got cut off now and then, you must understand it's not that I'm running away, because I've just been experiencing that through this morning. My question is maybe 2 or 3 questions, Chairperson, in general terms as well as actually specific, especially relating to the comments that were made by both and the presentation, comments made by the minister as well as the presentation, on some points that were just raised on the presentation. Like the, the on the presentation itself, I think there are 2 amounts that we've seen on the presentation. They for SMMEs. There is 39 million and there's also 14 million. Now, I know on the previous first adjustment we've made, there was the 14 million that was put in there. Now I see it's still 14 million. Does that mean that has that money not been spent at all since we experienced the COVID-19 challenges? And then also now, what is the difference really? Couldn't that be made just one amount? Why does it have to be separated? Because if I look at it, it's both for SMME, and maybe why the separation on it? That's one question. The second question, Chairperson, I think the minister also in his introductory input mentioned the issue of 4.9 million cut, I think. Bearing in mind that this COVID-19 has actually presented to us serious economic challenges, was there no way that maybe they couldn't have cut that amount at all? 4.9 could have well just been let there, and not actually make any cut regarding that. Maybe there might be serious rationale behind that, and maybe I'm raising this because it might have some effect on the functioning of the department. The last question, Chairperson, is around the issue of the compensation of employees. Obviously, it's the usual question that we always ask. Now, maybe if we can get the details of the post that really could not be filled by the department, and then maybe are there, and they add other additional post. I think that one I'm raising it regarding with specific reference to 325, page 325. Was there, what is the number of and the detailed additional posts that might be needed, especially in the office of the HOD, and why were they not budgeted on the main budget? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Before I go to other hands, Honorable van der Westhuizen, were you able to find the page number for the higher education?
Yes, Chair, I've posted it in the chat. It's table 12.1, page 324. Unfortunately, I didn't receive the blue book, so I had to follow it on the screen, and I see it has already been included in the first adjustment, but I'm still interested in what this transfer to higher education institutions would be for. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much. Are there any other members who would like to ask questions? If none, I'll throw my questions in at the moment. I saw on page 337 to pages 345, there's a long list of businesses and amounting to over 38 million rand. And I wanted to find out if those are the businesses listed that are getting the COVID business relief funding from the Western Cape. Are those the 230 small businesses that are being referred to? And then I just wanted to get clarity because there was also a tourism product development fund where the Western Cape will be giving financing to businesses in order for relief specifically. And on page 330, it was indicated that 426,000 will be put aside for that. And I just wanted to find out whether in this budget or in the next budget, we'll also be receiving a similar list of the beneficiaries and how many businesses will be supported from that fund. And then I just wanted to, on page 331, congratulate the department on the money being put aside for the Artisan Development Program, as well as the Work Placement Supply Program, which it was 100,000 for the first and 4.2 million for the second. I think it's important for us to ensure that people are trained and that they are skilled for the jobs of the future. Especially we see with the energy sector at the moment, we're trying to push hard to ensure that the value chain is supported in that particular sector. And then I wanted to find out on page 330, there's funding. I think that might also be similar to Honorable van der Westhuizen's, but I'm not too sure. There's funding for 2 non-profit institutions that was successful in application to the Tourism Product Development Fund of 993,000 Rand. And I just wanted to find out, is that similar to the money of page of the 426, or is it separate, or does it get counted together, or is there somewhere where we can see all the exact funding that's going for the Tourism Development Fund and the businesses then? And then finally, I just wanted to find out 600,000 Rand on page 328 is being put aside for the Halal Value Chain and Cluster Development Program, which intends to develop and grow businesses within the agri-processing sector. And if we can just get a little bit more information in that regard, please. Thank you. Minister and HOD, I'm going to allow you to allocate the questions accordingly.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to just respond to one question, which is, I think, more at the policy level, and then allow the HOD and the team to respond to the questions that are more technical. I want to respond to the Honourable Mvimbi and say that I completely agree with the general thrust of his argument, which is that in this period we need to prioritise economic recovery. And of course, I mean, we would prefer not to be in a position to have to absorb budget cuts. We're obviously pleased with the additional 12 million Rand that has been allocated to the COVID Relief Fund, and the department will provide the further details that have been requested. But at the end of the day, it is, I think we're in a position, because of the dramatic nature of the budget cuts, where the budget cuts, at least when it comes to the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, have been minimized. And it is unfortunate that under these circumstances we have had to absorb budget cuts. They are nothing, of course, compared to the budget cuts which have been, which we have to absorb in my other vote, Provincial Treasury, which we'll come to later, where, of course, we've had to absorb a budget cut of about 38 million Rand. Thank you. Chair, through you, if I could hand over to Solly Fourie and the team.
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you, Chair. Chair, the amount of money in the Higher Education Institution Fund, I mean, that was appropriated in the first appropriation. At the end of the round, I'll ask if Nizam Joseph can just respond to that one. On the question of compensation of employees, of course, we had set aside in our first budget appropriation an amount of money that we wanted to fill posts. Due to the fact that COVID occurred during the year, many of those posts could not be filled. And because we've had a first adjustment, we needed to look at were we able to fill those posts? And the answer was no. Many of those posts we couldn't fill. And so we had to declare those posts as being savings and declare that and surrender that back to the provincial fund. Because there was no way we could have employed those people at the time. The amount of money that is set aside in the HOD area was because we have done a different view on how we allocate priority posts now. That money is a realignment of the classifications in the budget, and that is still money set aside for COE. That's the 4 million that you saw there, but that money is now just kept in the office of the COE apportioned so that when those posts are actually going to be filled, they'll be paid out from that. But the CFO was also going to speak a little bit more about that. The second question from from Honourable Mvimbi about the SMME fund of 39 million and the fund of 14 million. Yeah, of course, all of that money goes to SMMEs, but in our classification according to projects, we assign those monies to different projects. So the Western Cape Business Relief Fund, and that's the amount we've rounded up to 39 million in the bullet shown as 38.28 million, Chair, and that's the question you've asked. That is specifically around relief for small, medium enterprises due to the effects of COVID. The Booster Fund was a project which we started last year, in the last financial year, and there was 14 million rand carry over in this financial year that we applied to those businesses, and those businesses were in various areas. We supported those businesses, not just in it wasn't from a COVID relief perspective, but it was a partnership with SMME organizations, with tertiary institutions, with municipalities, all seeking how they can support the various businesses as they went along. And all of those businesses are then supported in the various enterprise development and supplier development programs which the department had in place all the time. So that's why they were separated, and that's why they're shown as two different amounts. I'm going to ask the CFO if she could respond to the 4.9 million reduction, why that is. Also, if the CFO can respond to, yeah, that one. And then I'll come to the other questions, Chair, that you asked. Mibuna?
So yeah, good morning, Chair. I think with regard to the 4.9, the 4.9 is then obviously the net effect between the amount that was surrendered to Provincial Treasury, where we had COE specific savings, and the amount that we received from Provincial Treasury for the SMME Relief Fund, as well as the Mercita money. So it's just a net effect in terms of that. I mean, obviously we will agree with the fact that if we could have retained that funding, we would have, but given that it is COE funding and there is special prescripts around COE funding, Provincial Treasury would retain that as part of the surplus within the COE area. With regard to the question on the tourism fund, the tourism fund and the SMME Relief Fund is two very different areas. The tourism fund refers to, it's not a relief fund. It's specifically similar to our booster fund. It's looking at supporting tourism organizations. So unlike the relief fund, where the relief fund was relief to SMMEs and it was captured within your donation areas, the tourism product development fund, you'll find on page 38 of the appropriation bill, and the full list of the 5 million is then captured within that area. And specifically the questions around the non-profit institutions, you'll see that the two organizations that we supported there, which is your Kwatu Sun Culture and Education Center, and in your an NPC, which is the PSI NPC project, was it specifically the two non-profit institutions. But the amount for the tourism fund, well, as you saw in the bill itself, the total amount is 5 million, but the detail is sitting in your appropriation bill on page 38. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, you also asked the question on the halal value chain. I'm going to ask Rashid Sophie to respond to that question, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, HOD, Honourable Department. It's one of our legacy projects from last year. We realized that the huge potential of the halal market, It's a sector that was untapped, and what we did is we supported various businesses, but initially, but in this phase, what we did is we helped the halal authorities get the standards up to international levels, and then we supported various businesses who are in the agri-processing space to prepare themselves for compliance with those standards, and that would basically make them export ready. I'll leave it at that, and I'm not sure if Ilse would like to add any more, but that's essentially the project, Honourable Batman.
Yeah.
Judy, can I add?
Yeah, sorry, Ilse, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Fourie. Honourable Bartman, just to proceed as well from what Rashid indicated. So there's 4 companies that were assisted, very much linked to export capacity. So the standards was one of them. So we opened this up for the public to apply for. These 4 companies will be assisted in terms of their production capacity, whether it's through, some of them needed the additional certifications, some of it needed a bit of capital investment, so they could increase their capacity to export more. And most of I think 2 of the firms are in the Cape Winelands and 2 are in the Metro. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the one question which was a comment that you made on the Artisan Development Fund and the Skills Fund. I note your appreciation of that, and those are for us very, very important projects, because they continue to assist our young people and provide them with the kind of competitive skills that's required to enter a very, very difficult workplace, and to give them an edge in when they're doing those applications into the job space. Chair, I think we've covered all the questions. If there's not, we are prepared to take follow-ups.
Thank you so much. It is 11:30, 27 minutes past 11. So if there's any follow-up questions, I will allow for the follow-up questions now. Going once, going twice. If none, thank you so much to the Minister and to the HOD. Minister, do you have any closing remarks that you would like to add?
No, thank you, Chair. Just other than to thank you for your time, and of course thank the department for the absolutely outstanding work that they have done over the last couple of months supporting the economy during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you so much. And just before I forget as well, is there any member from the public online with us today who would like to ask the Minister or the department a question regarding the budget? Going once, going twice. If none, thank you so much, Minister and HOD. You now may be excused so that the committee can deliberate and consider the vote.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, members.
Thank you so much. Members, while the officials are leaving us, or they can always stay if they wish, it is a public meeting. Can I have views on the vote from members? Honourable Mitchell and then Honourable van der Westhuizen.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm of the view that we support the vote.
Okay, thank you. Honourable van der Westhuizen.
I second that view. Thank you, or that motion.
Thank you. I see Honourable Mvimbi's hand. Honourable Mvimbi must just unmute.
No, so thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm mindful of the proposal to support the budget by Honourable Mitchell and seconded by Honourable Van Westhuizen. However, Chairperson, I'd like to note the fact that we are grateful at the questions, the way that they were answered, but I still believe that the budget could have done a lot in terms of addressing the economic challenges that we visited upon as a result of COVID-19. And then in that respect, then on behalf of the ANC, I would like to exercise the right in terms of Rule 90. And therefore, I won't be supporting the budget.
Okay, noted as such. Honorable Mitchell, is that a new hand?
Yeah, Chair, I just want to, on a point of procedure, ask who's supporting, is there a seconder for Honorable Mvimbi's request?
I think Honorable Vimbi indicated that in terms of Rule 90, he wanted to put his view forward. And Rule 90, from the procedural officer maybe can assist me, Rule 90 means that it's a minority view.
I'm teasing Honorable Mvimbi, Chair.
Oh, okay. Ms. Adams, if we can just quickly put up the report and include then the support as well as the minority expression so that I can read it out for members to consider. Okay, can you make it a little bit bigger, please? Let me also put my glasses back on. There we go. Okay, I'll read it out now for the record. Draft report of the Standing Committee on Finance, Economic Opportunities and Tourism on Vote 12, Economic Development and Tourism, in the schedule to the Western Cape Second Adjustments Appropriation Bill B7/2020, dated 27 November 2020. Standing Committee on Finance, Economic Opportunities and Tourism reports that it has concluded its deliberations on Vote 12, Economic Development and Tourism in the schedule of the Western Cape Second Adjustment Appropriations Bill B7/2020, referred to the committee in terms of Standing Rule 188, and that it supports the vote referred to it. Minority view in terms of Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view to not support the vote. Members, are you in support of the report?
Support. Support.
Thank you, Honourable van der Westhuizen. I heard Honourable Mvimbi as well, and I see Honourable Mitchell's hand as well.
Yep.
Perfect. That thus becomes the report of the committee. Members, with that, I thank you, and thank you so much for our procedural officer for being so quick with the typing and for assisting us here today. I will see you at 12 o'clock. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.